This graph shows the average annual temperatures in India. Usually, heat waves are expected in the summer months, from March until May. This year, though, the first heat waves came a whole month early, and the country recorded its hottest February since 1901.
If you just go back, let's say 30 years or 20 years, the transitions used to be smooth. Summers there were, of course, used to get heat waves then, but they were not that intense. The magnitude of such heat waves wouldn't have been that high compared to what we are seeing right now in India. There was this abrupt jump in temperatures in February. So it was as if your winter season transitioned into summer and the spring season just got skipped.
It started becoming 38, 39 degrees. And then it just became 40 and 41. Right now we're at 42 as I speak. And the feel factor is 48.
What Johanna is describing as the feel factor is the so-called feel-as temperature, which you've probably seen on some weather reports. Usually, temperatures on weather reports reflect the warmth of the air as recorded by thermometers. The feel-as temperatures, on the other hand, take multiple factors into account, like humidity levels and wind. This gives people a better understanding of what being out in an area would actually feel like.
Yesterday, the feel factor was 54, which is unheard of.
Specifically in West Bengal, at this time of the year, it usually rains, which helps a lot when it comes to releasing locals from the scorching heat. But this year, the rain has mostly disappeared.
It's still raining in some parts of India, but mostly it's not raining.
We've had the 4 o'clock or the 5 o'clock rain in Calcutta, and we've known to have it. It's called Kal Boishakhi, which means a northwester. And that rain just cools the whole place down. You can go out in the evening, you can sleep peacefully without an air conditioner. But we haven't had any of those this year. Usually it starts around this time with excessive heat. We have rain showers. This time there's been only excessive heat and nothing else.
It's definitely affecting people because they are just facing it quite difficult to adjust to these rapidly changing conditions. If you just look at the percentage of people in India working outside, for example, employed in industrial work or construction activities and all, so they are exposed to heat waves quite a lot, like I said, compared to people working indoors. So that's a big problem. And even the population density in some regions is so large that it really becomes difficult for people to cool their houses because they really don't have proper ventilation mechanisms. And poverty is another problem because if people are poor, they can't afford air conditioners and water coolers. It's not just the weather conditions that matter, but it's also the socio-economic conditions that play an important role in sort of amplifying the mortalities in India.
In 2010, the city of Ahmedabad realized how serious of a problem that's become. Usually, the city of 5 million would register an average of about 100 deaths per day. During the heat waves, however, that number rose to 310.
So this started a sort of movement within the municipal government. We supported it, our partners from US NRDC supported, and we helped the city develop South Asia's first threshold-based heat action plan.
Ahmedabad's heat action plan has 4 major components.
One is early warning, what the temperature is going to be and how critical it will become.
There are 3 different types of alert: yellow, orange, and red. For Ahmedabad, the red alert comes when the city passes the threshold of 45 degrees. The second step is a communication campaign.
The municipal government receives this alert and the temperature forecast from the weather service. And these alerts are well disseminated through the publicity department, the news media, now the social media, radio, TV, etc.
The third step is making sure people know what each alert means and what they need to do to protect themselves.
So simple things like carrying water or drinking more water, not going out from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you have to go out, you have to cover your head and take rest in between if you feel very hot. And if you feel uncomfortable, immediately go to the hospital.
The fourth and final step is providing relief, from access to drinking water to ensuring there are cool places where people can shelter.
The municipal gardens are open in the afternoon so people can take shelter under a tree, and the night shelters are also kept open for the poor and vulnerable. Along with that, we have also started propagating the use of white paint on the roof to make the roofs more reflective and reducing the heating of the buildings. After heat plan was implemented, the all-cause mortality rise declined by about 30 to 40%, and that was the success of the heat action plan. This heat action plan has been now adopted by the National Disaster Management Authority to be implemented in whole of India, in many cities and also in rural areas.
A wider implementation doesn't mean a copy-paste approach, and the LEAP notes that in order to succeed, cities should devise their own heat adaptation plans according to their own individual needs and social and environmental conditions. As global temperatures increase, even regions with traditionally cool climates now face heat waves, and even if we reached net zero today, the world will still continue to warm up for quite a while.
This is just the beginning of the climate change process, and we will still see higher and higher temperature for the next 80 to 100 years. So we have to take this very seriously and start preparing our population and our city administration to deal with heat on a long-term basis.